Kash Patel shuts down Charlie Kirk foreign intelligence probe and explosive feud with Trump counter terror chief. Let me read the story to you on what he's saying. Kash Patel. Let's go through this. So here we go. Okay. Kash Patel crushed efforts by Tulsi Gabbard's closest advisor to see if foreign powers was involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. The head of National Counterterrorism, Joe Kent, analyzed FBI's files to determine whether Kirk's alleged killer received assistance from foreign power. Kent's investigation alarmed Patel, who believed the counterterror chief was overstepping by interfering with an ongoing FBI investigation. According to the New York Times, Kirk was shot in the throat by a high-powered sniper rifle while speaking to college students at Utah Valley University on September 10th. The Times spoke with supporters of Kent who claim he was doing his job by chasing down any leads to ensure no foreign groups were involved in Kirk's death. After Patel discovered Kent had gone through FBI case material related to Kirk's killing, a tense White House meeting was held to discuss the matter. A roundtable meeting between Kent, Patel, Gabbard, J.D. Vance, and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles and senior DOJ officials were held at the White House. Kent told the administration officials that he was granted access to the FBI files by low-ranking agency official. Trump administration officials were worried that Kent's probe into foreign interference could provide ammunition to Robinson's defense lawyers, who could then argue more than one suspect was involved in Kirk's murder. Adam.
Well, the date that we have to kind of pay attention to right now, because there's so many rumors swirling out there, is this January 16th. Have you heard about this date? January 16th, 2026 is apparently going to be the pre-trial date that Tyler Robinson is apparently supposed to appear in court. They said that the legal system is already in motion. Charges have been filed. The defendant is incarcerated without bail, and the state is preparing for trial. So until that date, rumors are going to circulate. People are going to go out there and make all sort of allegations, insinuations. We know who's out there just kind of claiming all sorts of wild things, that the President Trump has allegedly killed Charlie and naming a day after him, and people are alleging these foreign governments. But the reality is, unfortunately, none of this is going to come to light until the trial actually starts. Then you have people in Charlie Kirk's camp, you know, our friend Andrew Colvett and Mikey McCoy, who was basically his right-hand man. There's allegations that they were involved. I think all this is going to come to light. In my opinion, a lot of questions need to be answered, a lot of questions, but still, at this point, the most likely guilty person is this guy, Tyler Robinson, but a lot of things don't add up. I know that you've kind of down the path of loading the gun and jumping off the roof. There's a lot of questions.
And his furry lover has been missing for how many weeks, Rob?
Exactly.
I think 6 weeks.
So,
6 weeks they can't find furry boy.
What I've learned, you know, doing this podcast and watching all these massive news stories is everybody, because of the internet, can just voice their opinion. We give a shout out to a guy on a podcast who had the most incredible breakdown of the bullet and this and that, and then some other expert the next day was like, well, he's actually wrong. So until we actually see what the FBI has and what the authorities have, it's just consume information, take it in, form your opinions. Don't make any final assessments until we get this information.
Yeah, but
what are you seeing out there?
You're not going to be able to see it because they voted not to televise the actual trial. I mean,
what do they call it? What is it called, Rob? That you can't talk about it?
Gag order.
Gag order.
Yeah, they gagged everybody.
But they do a lot
I understand that, but I mean, like, think about it. We get to watch Johnny Depp listen to Amber Heard and she crapped on his bed. These are the trials that we want to see. I mean, me personally, and going back to the story, Pat, I just think it's odd. Why would Kash Patel shun Tulsi Gabbard? Pat, you know who Joe Kent is? Retired Army Special Forces Chief Warrant Officer, served 20 years, completed 11 combat tours in Iraq, Yemen, Africa. He retired and worked in CIA after entered politics. He ran twice for Congress. This guy is a stud, a legitimate stud. Yeah. Why would you try to hinder him for looking? Because, Adam, if there is outside foreign entities involved, come on, bro. Why would you stop that?
Was he assigned to do it, or did he go to get it? That's the question.
I think he kind of, Pat.
It says Kent's investigation alarmed Patel, who believed the counterterror chief was overstepping by interfering with an ongoing FBI investigation.
He's in the government, though. You're working for the government. He's just being proactive. I mean, I personally, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. It's just like you said, Adam, these unanswered questions that people.
What I find to be comforting is this roundtable with Kash Patel, with Kent that you're talking about, Joe Kent, with Tulsi Gabbard, with J.D. Vance, with Susie Wiles. You know, you might say you don't trust one person or you don't like how one person handles those things. But if you put this American team of Avengers, I would say that they were going to get to the bottom of what happened with Charlie. Do you trust the people in that room? Between Tulsi, Kent, Kash Patel, Susie Wiles, J.D. Vance, don't you think they have America's best interest and Charlie's best interest and the truth's best interest in mind? Don't you think?
Adam, I'm not saying that. I don't even, when it comes to like FBIs and CIA, look at all the stuff that we hear about intelligence agencies.
No, I hear you, but it's not just the FBI and the CIA. You're having Susie Wiles in there. You have J.D. Vance in there. J.D. Vance was incredibly close with Charlie. Yeah. Don't you think that you trust their judgment?
I trust J.D.
Don't
Vance.
you trust their judgment more than talking heads on the internet?
But Adam, but at the same time, when it comes to guns and taking them apart and stuff, we're not dumb. You know what I mean? Taking apart a gun that fast and that type of gun and putting it in a backpack.
So what's your biggest apprehension to what you've seen out there with the story? Because I agree there are questions that need to be answered.
I mean, it's such a long line of just.
But what's the number one thing?
Here's one of them.
What's the number one thing, though?
Hold on. George Zinn stood up the moment Charlie was shot. Everybody is running that way. This guy stands up, pulls out a white handkerchief. This was all planned for him. Pulls out a white handkerchief, Adam, and walks towards Charlie and is saying, "I did it, shoot me, kill me," and takes his pants off. That, to me, says that there was somebody knew about this that was going to happen, and there's just a bunch of unanswered stuff. And what's crazy is with all the cameras and everything, and we still can't say definitively what happened. A normal person doesn't do that. That's a really, really big problem. And then, Adam, a 30-06 gun cannot fit in a backpack. He shot guns. I've shot guns. He's shot guns. You can't fold a 30-06, bro, and put it in any backpack. Troy out there, who has a backpack that's one of those long ones, Pat, those Ranger ones, you can't do it. It's impossible. And Adam, I'm not this crazy guy that's thinking all this, the president and all that. No, I don't think about none of that nonsense. Just give me the actual facts, because when you're shunning it from us, and I know we don't deserve to hear all of it right out, because some of the stuff is in there that's pretty messed up.
By the way,
just be honest with us.
We can move on from this. I have so many questions.
Yes.
I have so many questions with this. It's not even funny.
What's your number one question, Pat?
I have so many questions with this. And I've expressed it many, many, many times. So I'm not going to go through this too, but I have a lot of questions. I would, you know how when something happens, you then volunteer to join the military, like 9/11, a lot of people volunteer to join the military. I would volunteer to go work for the FBI, to investigate and be one. I would volunteer. This is how bad I want to know what happened here. I would volunteer, because this guy was a very unique guy. Volunteer. This guy was a very unique guy. I would volunteer to do that. You don't even need to pay me, and I would give a certain set of hours to go to this and find out what's going on over here, because this is a very different time between MLK being assassinated, Bobby Kennedy being assassinated, JFK being assassinated, than him. We got 3,500 cameras. We got things right now that we didn't have back in the days. We should be able to figure out what's going on. And, it's. But anyways, I got one too many questions that I need 2 hours to go through for me to find this out. But if they do want to call me to help with that, I would volunteer my time. I'd go to D.C. once a week to just help figure this thing out. That's how bad I want to know who was behind this. And I don't care who it was. I want to know who was behind this. I have a list of 15 different people that could be. You know, when you sell life insurance?
Yep.
We sold 800,000 life insurance policies over the years, give or take.
A lot of insurance.
And when you have death benefits that come and they get activated and you get the investigation. So I sold an insurance policy to a guy. And it's like, hey, this guy deserves a $250,000 policy. Oh, you think? Yes. No, he does. No, he didn't. Were you there when he peed? No. He gave me the urine. Okay. Well, it happens he didn't pee. His brother peed for him. How do you know that? Well, let me tell you what it matched. It happened that you also sold an insurance policy to his brother as well. His brother's pee is identical to his pee. No way. Yeah. And now that he died a year and a half later after the investigation, we find that he lied on this and and this was behind it. No way. Yes. Shoot, we can't pay him $250. They just refund back whatever premium he paid into it. Hey, this other person died. Oh, how did he die? He shot himself. Who was in the house? The husband was in the house. So who was it? Well, let me tell you, they looked at it as the husband was involved. No way, yeah. How about this one? This one. Do you know, like, part of being in life insurance, and especially volume-based for us, volume-based. I don't sell like to rich millionaires and billionaires. We sold to middle American, people who wanted to buy $250,000, $500,000 policy, $1 million policy. You go through these audits with these investigators, and you are sometimes like flabbergasted by the results of what really happened. But our job is to pursue, because I want this surviving member who was relying on the breadwinner to get that $500,000 death benefit. I want her to get the money because she has to take care of those 2 kids. Yep. But no, this happened, that happened. I mean, there's way too many things for us to go through here. But I'm excited to hear the investigation start. And this is something I simply, as a guy who saw a man who was a once-in-a-generation type of a guy, I want to know what happened.
Do you trust those people that I just mentioned? Kash Patel, Tulsi, J.D. Vance, Susie Wiles.
I think you have to know already, if you're around me enough, Adam, you have to know already, for me, that to be the CEO and the executive team of the biggest company in the world called the United States of America, you don't live in the same reality.
Good point.
So it's not, you speak a very different language than they speak. It's a very different language. Like, I was in the military, okay? And I was going to go be 18 Delta, 5th Group. I talked about it yesterday with the guy, Jordan Goudreau, who was behind Operation Gideon, where they try to take out Maduro. And you remember this interview that we did that, maybe we'll show the intro at the end. We don't even know if we're going to release it or not. He was supposed to go to jail yesterday. When we interviewed him, he was in the middle of the parking lot outside of his homeless shelter with a anklet on because he's about to go to jail. Did you hear about this or not?
Yes.
Maybe we'll show this at the end of it for you. Wow. I started watching a documentary yesterday as well with Tico. Tico's a very interesting guy. But to me, when you're 18 Delta and you go, and then you're Delta Force and you go, they didn't join the same military I joined. I didn't see the same thing they saw. They saw things I will never see. It's a very different world you live in. So the average person cannot relate to what these guys have to do at the White House and who the enemies are. They really know who the enemy. And by the way, sometimes they're doing certain things and making some decisions that seem like they're divisive and it's nasty. It's like the whole thing with, idolize, demonize, humanize. Yep. The whole father-son relationship that goes through 3 phases. Sometimes your father has to die for you to realize why he did what he did when you were 16 years old. Sometimes you have to lose somebody to say, damn. Guy sitting there, he can't stand his dad. Dad never told him he loves him because his dad never told him he loves him. So his father didn't tell him, that whole thing that nobody. And then his dad dies and he goes to the funeral just out of, I have to go to funeral. Hundreds of people show up and they all start telling how he helped them out, even though he didn't have any money. And they're like, you don't even know who your father was. And the guy feels like shit saying, oh my God, my dad helped so many people out and he just never talked about it. These things are real. A part of life that is real. And you don't need to know everything. I talked to a guy whose father was part of SAVAK, and I put him in contact with a very powerful former SAVAK director, and they met each other, and that guy told them about what his grandfather did and why they didn't share everything with him. And one day he and I said, very, very successful guy, this guy. When I mean very successful, I don't mean like a millionaire. He's very, very successful. He visits me every month. We sit down and we do engagements with him for his firm. He's got a very big company. And I said, what makes you think your dad deserves to tell you this? What makes you think he has to tell you what he went through? Who are you for him to have to tell you this? Who am I for my dad to tell me everything? Who are my kids for me to have to tell them everything? You don't know the burden I carry. I don't know the burden my dad carried, living in Iran, going through war. And I don't know the burden his dad carried, living in the 1920s. I'm supposed to understand what it's like to live in the 20s in Iran? No. So I'm telling you selfishly because of how much I believed in Charlie Kirk. From the moment I met him, I said, this guy's going to be a president one day. And the kind of president I would go campaign for.
Yeah.
I would go not only put money, and I would have campaigned for this guy. I would have been the guy to be like, hey, I want to help this guy become a guy. I've never done that.
Yep.
We fought very hard for Trump, and that was probably the first time I ever did something like this, where even when everybody walked away from him 2020. I'm probably one of the only guys that in the circle that I still stayed with him. And you remember those moments
true.
when we had those conversations.
Of course.
Yep. So to me, I'm not happy about it, but I understand the job of being in the White House. You're not supposed to fully understand half the things that they go through. You're not. And, you voted for them, whether you like them or not, they're doing their job. And I'm not expecting like 100% of the stuff that they're doing. You know what is scary to most people? Planning. Most people are afraid of planning. Most people are afraid of sitting there and saying, oh my God, you want me to plan for next year? But you know who's not scared of planning? I want to introduce you to this guy who was looking for a business plan to fall out of the sky for him. And it didn't happen. But he made a decision to put on his calendar on December 12th to spend an entire day with somebody. Go ahead and play this clip. Wow. Watch this fellow here. Good-looking guy, minding his own business.
Yeah. The best-looking guy.
Hey, Vinny.
What's up, Pat?
What are you doing?
Waiting.
Waiting for what?
Business plan.
To come from Scott.
That's what people told me. It works
That's not how it works.
Worked for Newton.
That's not how it works. On December 12th, I host an event called the Business Planning Workshop, where we go through this entire manual together on how to write a business plan based on 12 building blocks.
Okay.
All you have to do is click on a link below.
Okay.
Get registered. December 12th, we'll be together all day.
All right, so can we go eat right now? Because I've
Yeah,
been here
let's
for 4
go.
hours waiting like
Waiting
an
for the
idiot.
sky.
Idiot.
I mean, he even made me look up the second time to see if it was going to fall or not. But it's not falling. For some of you guys, I got big plans for 2026. December 12th, come join us. Rob, can we please put the link below everywhere so people can see it? For those of you guys that are listening to it in audio, it's bpw.bedavidconsulting.com. Join us December 12th together to write up your business plan for 2026. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.